Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, things just don't go the way you want? You plan everything down to the minute. You make lists, set reminders, double-check your efforts, and still it slips through your fingers. The job offer doesn't come. The relationship falls apart. The opportunity you were counting on disappears. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Because here's the truth. Life has a way of testing us through control. We're taught from a young age that if we work hard enough, plan well enough, and push long enough, we can make anything happen. We start believing that success is a formula. Hustle plus control equals results. And don't get me wrong, effort matters. Showing up matters. But there comes a point when effort crosses a line into obsession, into desperation, into burnout. That's where life steps in with a deeper lesson. The more we try to control everything, the outcomes, the timing, how people respond to us, the more resistance we meet. It's like trying to force a seed to grow faster by pulling on its leaves. The harder we pull, the more damage we do. I've lived this. Maybe you have too. There were times I held on so tightly to a plan, so sure it had to work, that I missed better paths opening around me. I was too busy forcing my version of life to notice what life was trying to offer me instead. But here's the beautiful paradox. The moment we surrender, the moment we let go, that's when real transformation begins. This isn't about giving up, it's about giving over. It's about trading control for trust. When we release the constant need to micromanage our lives, we give the universe room to breathe. And believe it or not, the universe knows what it's doing. It's seen your struggle. It understands your heart. And it often has plans for you far greater than the ones you're clinging to. So today, I want to invite you into a different way of being. A softer way, a braver way. What if true success doesn't come from controlling every detail, but from trusting that life is unfolding exactly as it should? What if letting go isn't weakness, but wisdom? You don't need to force your way forward. You don't need to grip so tightly. Sometimes, the most powerful move you can make is to step back, to breathe, to trust. Because when you surrender, truly surrender, not only do you find peace, but you open yourself to receive the life you've been chasing all along. And maybe, just maybe, it's already on its way to you. Part 1. The universe responds to vibration, not desperation. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted something so badly that you could feel your whole body tighten with longing? Maybe it was a job you were desperate to land, a relationship you were trying to save, or a dream that felt just out of reach. So you started pushing harder, thinking more, worrying more, trying to control every outcome. And still, nothing moved. It's frustrating, right? You feel like you're doing everything right. But here's the truth that so many of us overlook. The universe isn't responding to your effort. It's responding to your energy. This idea changed my life, and maybe it will change yours too. You see, we're energetic beings. Every thought, every emotion, every belief, we're constantly sending out vibrations, like invisible signals. And the universe, in all its wisdom, doesn't respond to what we say we want. It responds to the energy we're actually emitting. That's why when you're calm, centered, and full of trust, things just seem to flow. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. People show up. The right paths unfold. But when you're desperate, when your energy is wrapped in anxiety, fear, and lack, you're unintentionally pushing away the very thing you're chasing. It's like tuning a radio. If you're not on the right frequency, you're going to get static. No matter how loud you turn the volume up, the message won't come through. Let me give you an example. I once had a friend who was trying so hard to manifest love. She made vision boards, recited affirmations every morning, went on date after date, but inside she was vibrating with fear, afraid she'd be alone forever, afraid she wasn't good enough. And guess what? She kept attracting people who mirrored that fear, relationships that didn't last, people who didn't show up for her. It wasn't until she took a break, started loving herself more, slowed down and let go of the fear, that love found her. Real love. Why? Because her vibration shifted. Because here's the powerful paradox. The moment we release control, we invite flow. I remember a time in my life when I was trying so hard to make a project succeed. I was staying up late, micromanaging every detail, stressing over every outcome. I believed that if I didn't control it, it would, quote, "It creating stop sending out, I need this or I'm not whole, and started vibrating, I'm already whole, and I'm open to more. That's the secret. The universe doesn't hear your desperation, it hears your frequency. So if you're operating from a place of panic or lack, the universe reflects that energy back to you. Not because it's cruel, but because that's the signal you're putting out. But when you let go, when you stop gripping so tightly and start trusting the timing, trusting yourself, trusting life, you create space. And in that space, the magic begins to flow. So I want to invite you to check in with yourself right now. What's the energy behind your desires? Is it calm trust or anxious craving? Because here's the truth. You don't have to beg for what's meant for you. You just have to align with it. Let your energy match the life you want, not the fear of not having it. When you shift your vibration to trust, to peace, to worthiness, the universe meets you there. And that's when the miracles begin. Part 2. You only block what you try to control. Let's take a moment to be honest. How many times have you tried to control everything around you? Maybe it was your career path. Maybe it was your partner's behavior. Maybe it was the timing of an important opportunity that just wouldn't come when you wanted it to. You planned, pushed, manipulated, and held on tight, thinking, if I just try hard enough, I can make it happen. But instead of feeling empowered, you ended up feeling exhausted. I know that feeling too well. Because the truth is, control doesn't bring peace. It builds resistance. And the more we cling to control, the more we actually block the very things we want from flowing into our lives. Think about it like this. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you keep your hand open, the sand rests gently in your palm. But if you start to squeeze it, trying to keep it from slipping away, it spills out through your fingers. That's what control does to our lives. It squeezes. It tightens. It tries to force a result. But in doing so, it pushes away the joy, the freedom, and the miracles waiting for us. We've been conditioned to believe that if we want something bad enough, we need to chase it relentlessly and control every step. But what if that's not true? What if surrendering isn't weakness, it's wisdom? And night. Conversations went flat, partnerships faded, nothing moved. It wasn't until I stepped back, until I said, you know what? I've done my part, now I need to let go. That things started shifting. New people showed up, solutions I hadn't even thought of appeared. What I couldn't force began to flow when I surrendered. And that's not just my story, it's a spiritual truth. Trying to control everything in life creates tension, both inside and out. It keeps us from living in the moment, from trusting others, and from hearing the gentle guidance that often leads us forward. Control is fear wearing a mask, but surrender is trust in action. That doesn't mean we sit back and do nothing. It means we show up, we take aligned action, but we release the death grip on how things must turn out. We let life breathe, we let the universe co-create with us. So ask yourself today, what are you trying too hard to control? Is it time to loosen your grip? Because in that space, in that softening, you just might find the peace, the clarity, and the breakthrough you've been chasing. Remember this, what you try to control, you often block, but what you surrender to, you allow to grow. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is to let go. Part 3. Silence creates clarity. When was the last time you truly sat in silence? I don't mean turning off the TV for a minute or scrolling your phone on mute. I mean real silence, the kind where you pause, breathe, and just be. No noise, no distractions, no agenda. For many of us, silence feels uncomfortable, awkward even. We're so used to filling every moment with something, music, podcasts, notifications, news, that when silence finally shows up, we don't know what to do with it. But here's the thing, silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. In a world that constantly demands our attention, silence becomes sacred. It's the space where we can actually hear ourselves think, or better yet, feel. And more than that, it's the space where we can finally hear the subtle whispers of the universe. You've probably had this experience. You're driving alone, no music on, and suddenly a thought drops in, clear, powerful, undeniable. Or you're lying in bed in the early morning, and an idea arrives seemingly out of nowhere. That's not coincidence. That's clarity rising from silence. A quiet mind doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything important finally has room to speak. We often think that we need to do more, say more, or figure out more to move forward. But in reality, the wisest decisions, the ones that align deeply with who we are, don't come from external noise. They come from inner stillness. Think of it like a lake. When the surface is calm, you can see all the way to the bottom. But when it's stirred up by wind or storm, the water turns murky. That's exactly what happens to us when our minds are constantly agitated. We can't see clearly. We can't hear our intuition. We lose touch with our inner compass. But silence? Silence brings everything back into focus. I used to avoid silence. It felt uncomfortable, like I needed to always be doing something productive. But over time, I realized that the greatest breakthroughs in my life, the moments of deep clarity, healing, even creative inspiration, didn't come from hustle. They came from stillness, from simply sitting down, breathing deeply, and listening. So I want to ask you, when was the last time you made space for silence in your life? Not by accident, but on purpose. Because silence is not a lack of sound, it's the presence of awareness. It tells the universe, I'm not reacting, I'm not panicking, I'm not trying to force anything. I'm listening, and the universe listens back. When you choose silence in a noisy world, you reclaim your power. You step into a deeper relationship with yourself. You send a message that says, I trust the stillness. I trust what's rising from within me. So if your world feels loud right now, if your mind is spinning with questions, to-do lists, and what-ifs, try this. Step outside, sit quietly, close your eyes, listen, not to the chaos, but to what lies beneath it. Because in the stillness, you'll find your answers. In the silence, you'll find your strength. And in that quiet space, you'll finally hear the truth your soul has been whispering all along. Part 4. The Art of Trusting Timing. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like life is taking too long to give you what you've been asking for? You've done the work. You've stayed patient. You've set the intention. And still, nothing. The dream job doesn't come. The relationship doesn't appear. The healing doesn't happen. It feels like you're stuck in waiting mode, wondering, what's the holdup? I get it. In a world that runs on instant gratification, waiting can feel like failure. But here's what I've learned. The universe doesn't operate on our schedules. It moves in divine timing. That can be a hard truth to swallow, especially when our hearts are ready now. But life keeps saying, not yet. We like to set our own deadlines. By next year, I'll be married. By 40, I'll be financially free. By this month, I'll be healed. And when those timelines pass and the reality hasn't arrived, we panic, we doubt, we push harder. But the truth is, delays are not denials, they're preparations. Have you ever looked back on something you wanted so badly, only to realize later that if you had gotten it then, you wouldn't have been ready? I know I have. There were jobs I thought I deserved, relationships I was desperate for, goals I wanted to check off, but life had a bigger view. And what came later was better, not because it was shinier, but because I was finally ready to receive it. Trusting the timing of your life means surrendering the illusion that you're behind. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're meant to be, even if it doesn't make sense right now. Just look at nature. Trees don't bloom in winter. Flowers don't force themselves to open. They wait for the right temperature, the right light, the right conditions, and then they blossom effortlessly. You and I, we're the same. We bloom when we're ready. But when we try to force things, rushing the process, stressing about the timeline, we disconnect from the flow. We create tension, anxiety, burnout. We miss the wisdom and growth that waiting can offer us. You see, waiting isn't wasted time, it's sacred time. It's the space where your roots grow deeper, your soul matures, your path becomes clearer. So if you're in a season of waiting right now, let me offer you this. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to not have all the answers. It's okay to trust that what's meant for you is not passing you by, it's preparing for you, just as you're preparing for it. You don't need to rush. You don't need to panic. You don't need to prove your worth by how fast your life moves. What's meant for you will not miss you. Say that again to yourself. What's meant for me will not miss me. And in the meantime, be present, learn, heal, Laugh, breathe, grow, because when the timing is right, and it will be right, you won't have to chase anything. It will come to you naturally, beautifully, in a way that feels just right. Trust the season you're in. Trust the unfolding. Trust the timing, because your time is coming. Part 5. You attract what you believe you deserve. Let me share a truth that might change the way you look at everything in your life. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe you deserve. Let that sink in for a second. Because deep down, we all have desires. We want love, we want peace, we want to be successful, happy, secure. But the real question is, do you believe you're worthy of those things? Because if you don't, no matter how hard you try, you'll subconsciously push those things away. You see, the universe isn't just listening to your words, it's listening to your energy. Your self-worth, your internal belief about what you're allowed to receive, acts like a filter. It shapes what you see, what you attract, and what you're open to receiving. Let me give you an example. I once knew someone who was incredibly talented, smart, driven, and kind. But every time a good opportunity came along, she'd sabotage it. She'd say things like, "I'm not ready," or "It's probably not for me." And eventually, the doors stopped opening. Not because she wasn't capable, but because she didn't believe she was worthy of walking through them. Her energy was telling the universe, "I don't deserve this." And the universe, always listening, responded in kind. That's how powerful our inner beliefs are. They either invite abundance or build walls that block it. But here's the good news. You can shift that belief. You can change the story you tell yourself. You can start choosing thoughts that affirm your worth, not deny it. Because the moment you believe, truly believe, that you deserve love, peace, success, and joy, everything around you begins to shift. You'll start noticing people who see your value, opportunities that align with your goals, experiences that nourish your spirit, not because they suddenly appeared, but because now you're ready to receive them. The universe responds to you, not the mask you wear, not the goals you set, but the energy underneath it all. So I want to ask you, what do you believe you're worthy of? Are you playing small because someone once told you that you were too much or not enough? Are you hesitating to chase a dream because deep down you're afraid you don't deserve success? If so, it's time to rewrite the script, because you are enough. You always have been. You deserve love, not the kind that makes you beg, but the kind that sees you and stays. You deserve peace, not the kind that's temporary, but the kind that lives inside you. You deserve abundance, not because you've earned it by suffering, but because your existence is worthy of it. The life you want is already on its way, but it can only meet you at the level of your self-belief. So lift that belief, let it rise. Let your worthiness shine louder than your doubt. Because the moment you start living as if you deserve the good things, you begin attracting them. That's not magic, that's alignment. Part 6, calmness is a manifestation. Let me ask you something. When you think about manifesting your dream life, do you imagine peace or do you imagine pressure? Because for most of us, when we set our sights on a goal, we go into overdrive. We push, we plan, we hustle, we wake up early, grind harder, and stay busy, thinking that effort equals results. And yes, action is important, but there's a deeper truth that often gets overlooked. Calmness is not a luxury. Calmness is a manifestation in itself. We've been conditioned to believe that the more we do, the more we'll receive. But when that doing is rooted in fear, anxiety, or scarcity, it actually works against us. Think about it. Have you ever been so anxious to make something happen that you ended up blocking it completely? Maybe it was a job interview where your nerves got the best of you. Or a conversation where your energy felt off. Or maybe you just tried so hard to manifest something that you burned yourself out in the process. Why does that happen? Because manifestation isn't just about action, it's about energy. And the energy of calm is incredibly powerful. When you're calm, you're clear, you can hear your intuition, you make better decisions, you don't act from panic or pressure, you act from alignment. Imagine a still lake. When it's calm, it reflects everything around it perfectly. But when it's stirred up, waves crashing, ripples everywhere, you can't see anything clearly. That's how your energy works too. Calmness creates clarity. It opens the door for miracles, for creativity, for healing, for unexpected solutions. And the best part? You don't have to force calmness. You choose it. You choose to pause instead of react. You choose to breathe before you speak. You choose to trust instead of panic. I'll tell you from personal experience, some of the most life-changing moments I've had didn't happen when I was racing towards something. They happened when I got quiet, when I let go, when I simply sat in the calm and allowed the next step to reveal itself. Calmness isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing things from a place of peace. And that peace is magnetic. It attracts the right people, the right timing, the right opportunities. Why? Because calmness says to the universe, I trust you. I know I don't have to chase everything. I'm ready to receive. When you're rushing, you're often running away from something. Fear, doubt, lack. But when you're calm, you're standing with something. Faith, presence, worthiness. So if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, ask yourself, what would it look like to take a calm breath, to release the need to push? Because here's the beautiful secret. Calmness is not the result of things going right. Calmness is the energy that makes things go right. It's the space where manifestation begins. Not in the noise, but in the stillness. You don't have to hustle for your worth. You don't have to chase your dreams down the street. You simply need to become the version of you that already trusts and already believes that what you desire is already on its way. And when you meet life with calm energy, you don't just attract what you want, you become ready to receive it. Part 7, letting go is the key to receiving. There's a moment on every journey where we have to ask ourselves one simple question. Am I holding on too tightly? We all do it. We set goals, we dream big, we visualize, we work hard, and that's beautiful. But sometimes, without even realizing it, we start clinging to a timeline, clinging to a specific outcome, clinging to the idea that if things don't happen a certain way, they're not happening at all. But here's the truth we often forget. Letting go is not giving up, it's making space. Letting go isn't about abandoning your dream. It's not about being passive or careless. It's about surrendering how and when that dream will come to life, and allowing the universe to surprise you. Think of it like planting a seed. You place it in the soil, water it, give it light, and then you wait. You don't pull it up every day to see if it's growing. You don't yell at the dirt and demand results by next Tuesday. You trust. You let nature do its thing. And life works the same way. But when we try to control every detail, when we obsess over timing, or fear the worst, or doubt ourselves at every turn, we're like the gardener who stomps on the soil and says, "Why haven't you bloomed yet?" We suffocate the very thing we want most. Letting go is a decision, a brave one. It says, I've done my part. Now I trust that life is doing its part too. When you let go, something powerful happens. Your energy softens, your heart opens, and suddenly, instead of trying to force the door open, you're standing in front of it, calm, confident, and ready to receive when it swings wide on its own. I've seen this in my own life more times than I can count. The moments I stopped chasing, begging, worrying, those were the moments everything shifted. Opportunities showed up out of nowhere. People I never expected entered my life. Dreams I had forgotten about came full circle in ways I could have never orchestrated on my own. Why? Because the universe doesn't work on command. It works on alignment. And when we release control, when we surrender the need to dictate every outcome, we finally allow space for the divine to step in. You may not always understand how or when it'll happen. That's okay. It's not your job to micromanage the universe. Your job is to trust. You choose so far where you're boss. Be in hell to do your part with love, clarity, and intention, and then to let go with grace. Because letting go doesn't weaken your desire. It amplifies your readiness to receive. So if you're in a season where things feel stuck or heavy or just slower than you hoped, I invite you to ask, what if I released my grip just a little? What if I trusted that what's meant for me will find me, without force, without fear? Because when you let go of the how and the when, you leave room for the miracle. And believe me, everything you desire is already on its way. So after everything we've explored together, letting go, trusting timing, choosing calmness, believing in your worth. Here's what I want you to remember most. Everything you desire is already on its way. I know that might sound hard to believe, especially if you're in a season of waiting. If life feels quiet, if your prayers feel unanswered, if you've done the work and still don't see the results, but I want you to hear this with your whole heart. Just because you can't see it yet doesn't mean it's not already moving toward you. The universe works in quiet, mysterious ways, often behind the scenes. And what looks like delay is often preparation. What feels like silence is often alignment. When you begin to let go, not give up, but truly surrender, you shift your energy. You go from tension to trust, from fear to flow, from forcing life to allowing life. And that shift, it opens doors you couldn't have imagined. You begin to notice the beauty in small moments. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop controlling and start receiving. And most importantly, you start experiencing something so many people miss in their pursuit of success: peace. Because when you let go, you don't just create space for the universe to move. You create space for yourself to breathe. And that breath, that inner calm, becomes a magnet for everything you're seeking: love, clarity, purpose, abundance. This isn't about sitting back and waiting for life to happen to you. It's about walking with trust, acting with purpose, and believing with your whole being that life is already happening for you. So if you've been trying to manifest something, if you've been waiting for change, for healing, for that breakthrough to finally come, let this be your reminder. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're not stuck. You're becoming. You're aligning. You're making room for what's meant for you. Stay calm. Stay open. Stay rooted in the truth that what's yours can never miss you. And when the time is right, it will arrive fully, beautifully, and more powerfully than you ever planned. So breathe deeply, let go gently, trust completely. Because the more you let go, the more the universe delivers. The miracle always shows up right on time. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Comment below, what's one painful moment that helped you grow? If this touched you, subscribe. Let's keep walking together.